My favorite part about being autistic is having special interests. It's special indeed to be able to hold such a strong affection and infatuation with something that could be as little as like an element from a TV series or a piece of history. My special interests over the years have been revolving around like Nintendo and Mario Kart especially. Like just thinking about them like gets me excited. When autistic people have special interests, we tend to like immerse ourselves in it, whether that be by collecting things related to it, doing intense research about it, or just constantly talking about it. I personally love collecting like retro Nintendo consoles and games and Mario Kart related merch. I love having special interests because it feels so good to be able to like hold something so close to you and know so much about it. It can make me happy even on my toughest days.
My favourite thing about being autistic is my brilliant memory. I can remember things from before I was even 1 year old, which is quite unusual because people can't usually remember things from before they were two. Um, my memory also helps me in school and allows me to excel in academic subjects as well as creative subjects. It also kind of applies to special interests and allows me to remember like copious amounts of information and intimate details on them. In everyday circumstances, it's not as great. Like I can remember things that happened a long time ago, or with lots of emotions attached to the memory, but I can't remember like what I had for dinner last week, for example. I do know what I had for lunch though, because I have the same thing every day.
Hi, I'm Kat. My favourite thing about being autistic is my perception of colours, which allows me to empathise with people. For example, if I think that they're feeling a certain colour and I don't know what mood that is, but I can reciprocate with the matching colour. And I don't know how else to explain that, but it's a really lovely thing. I think it comes with synesthesia, which is linked to autism, and it just means that while autism means that I am sometimes not as good at communicating in conventional ways, I am allowed to communicate in my own way, and that's really lovely. I hope everybody has a lovely day. Bye bye!
My favorite thing about being autistic is how I experience the world differently than other people, and that's just really cool because not everyone sees it the way I do, and I like being unique.
I guess one of my favorite things about being autistic is like having a different way of thinking, because like when a majority thinks a certain way, they can often miss like small details, but with our minds, like we'll pick up on most everything. So it's nice to be able to, have to be able to contribute.
Alright, so my name is Siobhan, and my favorite part about being autistic, I think, would be that it gives me a lot of insight into the world that's not often brought in, but a lot of people think about the world in one way, and when I can bring my perspective of the world in a different way, it contributes meaningfully to the conversation. And also, being autistic has led me to finding an awesome community of friends, both online and in person, and I couldn't be more grateful for those people.
That a lot of autistic people are also trans or just otherwise some form of queer, and I think that has to do with the fact that we are very much our own person. We don't really adhere to societal norms, societal expectations. Like, for example, I'm trans. I realized I was trans when I was like 5 or 6 because I already saw myself as my own person, my own sets of morals that were different from what other people would consider normal. Whereas for a lot of neurotypical people, they realize that they are queer. They don't really come to accept it quicker than we do, just because they're very much within their own. They care more about adhering to societal norms, whereas we're kind of very much our own people. We already don't really care, maybe don't really understand things like that, but I see that as a personal strength.
Hello. Oh, my favorite part of being autistic is because we hate change. I like it so much because at least with that, I would know what to expect and when to expect it.
My favorite thing about being autistic is having extensive knowledge in a particular area that the neurotypicals around me wouldn't have even thought to look into that area. Blowing everyone's mind and showing others that autism doesn't mean suffering is a great feeling is one of the reasons I want to become an autism advocate.
Is knowing that biologically I'm predisposed to being unique and giving new ideas, and it really helps both society and me, and it's that kind of feeling of good different.
My favorite thing about being autistic is I get to see things from a perspective that nobody else does. My special interests and love for learning help me excel in school. I know lots about animals, science, English, and history. I might depend on routine and not talk much. But I'm unique, different, and me.
My favorite thing about being autistic is the love and support that we all give to each other in the autistic community. You are encouraged to be yourself no matter what, even if you are considered weird by societal standards. You're encouraged to not hold anything about yourself back, and that's honestly amazing. My family's never really been that supportive of me, and it's amazing. It's heartwarming to know that I have a much bigger family that understands me and my needs, even though we're all different. And I just want to thank every single one of you for accepting everybody else for their differences.
My favorite part would probably just be finding an answer to all the questions I had about myself and why I wasn't normal when I was younger. Also, just being able to find the people who will accept me and love me for who I am. Even with all my weird special interests and quirks. I've found people who will stim with me, have a good time, geek out about our special interests together, and really, I've just found an amazing community that has helped me through so much. By the way, this is Graham. Boop. She loves people, don't worry.
What is my favorite part about being autistic? I would say special interests. That or stimming. Special interests are great. I love them. One of mine is Harry Potter. I'm actually rocking with the blanket right now. But I don't know, just learning everything you can about whatever your special interest is just so satisfying, and it's so much fun. I waste so much time doing it, but it's great. And I also love stimming. I have this ring that spins. I don't know if this is, but I love doing that. And even hand flapping, which I know a lot of people don't accept it, but I love it. And so I think those are my two favorite things about being autistic: special interests and stimming, because I don't know. They just make me happy, and like it is making me want to STEM more right now.
Hi, I'm Leaf, and I'm an autistic person. I'm 18 years old and I was diagnosed 3 years ago. I think one of my favorite things about being autistic is I really discovered how much I love to stim. Like, I'm even doing it right now. My favorite one to do is I like to flap my hands like this and rock back and forth. Some of my family members get bothered by it though, so instead I do this one where I draw the infinity symbol on my hand and then go up and down on my fingers. I also really love how passionate I am about all my special interests, like my comics, botany and horticulture, and role-playing and simulation games. I'm just really glad that I've been able to unmask and become more like the person I was meant to be. And I just kind of love all of that, really. Okay, that's it.
My favorite thing about being autistic is that I get to see and hear so much more than everyone else does. So let's say I'm at a street corner, right? Most people don't notice like that crack in the sidewalk or that water that's running down into the sewers to your left, or like the color of the most cars at the intersection is blue. And I think it's so cool to be able to see so many patterns and so many bright colors in the world. And also, fun fact, autistic people are more likely to have what's called perfect pitch, which means you can identify a note just solely based on hearing the pitch alone. And I have that, and I'm so proud because I have become so musically talented because of just being autistic.
My favorite thing about being autistic is to write poetry quite often. And the reason why is that I'm usually unable to express my feelings verbally. It's a lot easier to write than form of poetry, and writing poetry fills me with joy.
So, I have auditory hypersensitivity, which of course means that certain sounds can make me feel really bad, but they can also make me feel really, really good. Like I have certain sounds, I call them stimmy sounds, that can like fill me with joy or make me feel completely at peace, especially sounds connected to like my special interests, which is ice hockey. So skate blades on ice or the clacking of sticks on ice can just like soothe me in any situation. And also like certain kinds of music, especially if it's like bands that I've seen live, just they can trigger this reaction in me. Like I literally I get high, like my brain gets flooded with the happy chemicals, same as if you were doing drugs. So that is my favorite thing about my autism, that I can literally get high off sound.
My favorite part about being autistic is the understanding. The understanding of autism itself, autism in people, autism in myself. I understand what it's like to go into sensory overload because someone raised their voice at you or someone touched you. I understand what it's like to be sensitive to tones or touch. I understand what it's like to not know how society acts and to script everything you do and everything you say because you don't want to mess up. You don't want people to know that you're different. I understand what it's like to watch people and understand how they interact with others because you want to do the same but you just don't know how. I understand what it is to be autistic, and that's my favorite part about autism.
My favorite part about being autistic is how happy some of the smallest things can make me. I deal with so much depression and anxiety on an almost daily basis, but at the end of the day, my mood can turn right around with really easy things. It could be wearing a familiar sweater, maybe watching some Pokemon videos, sometimes just holding a stuffed animal that I love is enough.
really small things can just make me feel as light as a kid. A neurotypical person is usually only happy with their interests, but I get to be ecstatic about what I love almost each and every day, and for that I see it as a blessing.
Some of my favorite things about being autistic is that I have a unique perspective on life that can make me think outside of the box. I can't be fake even if I tried because I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and being autistic makes me feel more confident in who I am. I love having a unique perspective on life because it can sometimes feel like a superpower when I notice things that other people don't. Having this superpower gives me the opportunity to teach everyone that there is more than just one way of thinking, and just because somebody thinks differently than you doesn't mean that they're wrong. Wearing my emotions on my sleeve can be a blessing and a curse at times, but I wouldn't want it any other way. It shows I'm being real to everyone, and being open about my emotions can possibly inspire other people to do the same, because it's healthy to let your emotions out and to not bottle them up inside of you. Being autistic has made me feel more confident in who I am, because I used to be insecure about showing the real me to a judgmental world. I used to do a lot of masking, but as I got older, I stopped trying to please society, and I stopped worrying about what other people think of me. I am now at the point where I can fidget and stim in public without feeling ashamed. In conclusion, I love being autistic because it makes me have a unique perspective on life, and it makes me very authentic, and it helped me boost my self-confidence.
My favorite thing about having autism or ADHD is a special interest. And they allow only us, as far as I know, to love and pursue a subject so much that we can learn everything about it, learn every facet about it, and this is a part of you, you know. It's something that makes you you. You're gonna be the only person who knows this much about this certain subject, whatever that is. You know, Pokemon, your favorite book series, anything like that. That's a part of you now, and it's not cringy or a waste of time. It's why would any part of you be a waste of time or a waste of space? You know, every single person is unique in everything that they can provide, and special interest is something that you can provide.
My favorite part about being autistic is the passion it gives me. The passion to learn all I can about the things that interest me, and also the passion that drives me to want to make the world a better place. Because of who I am and what I've experienced, I am driven to help other people and improve our world. I sincerely believe that if I were not autistic, my perspective of the world would be very different. If it were so, I might not be as inspired as I am to take action, or as convinced as I am that myself and everyone can make a difference in our world, which I believe is extremely necessary, no matter your cause, and no matter how much time and effort you are able to contribute. I am proud and grateful to be autistic, because my autism makes me who I am, and because of the wonderful, empowering neurodivergent community that uplifts and inspires so many people.
What I like most about being autistic is that my experience in life is very, very vibrant. My nervous system is pretty sensitive, but also my emotions are as well. I also like that I can separate out emotions from facts and deliver things from a very objective perspective, and I'm also able to track patterns and get to the root of issues very, very easily. I also appreciate that I can bring a unique perspective to the majority of groupthink conversations. Usually it's not something that anyone else has considered before or has previously addressed. I like that my style is unique. I don't usually go along with trends or anything that can be found in mainstream retail, so I usually end up creating things myself, and I really like my own personal expression. And I also like that I'm open to being able to experience and understand and learn about the thought processes and lifestyles of people around me, no matter how different they may be. Thank you so much for your time. Bye.
Hi, I'm Louise, I'm French, and I'm an Autisticate, and my favorite thing about that is the feeling to belong to a community, like a secret community, the feeling to see, to feel the universe maybe more deeply, and to have that ability to make connections between things very instinctively. I think I love the fact that the things I succeed to do, I do it very instinctively, so I have that very organic feeling about that.
My name is Ro, and I love being autistic for many reasons. My favourite reasons being special interests, stimming, and having my assistance dog in training, Lyra. The feeling of having a passion as deep as an autistic special interest is truly wonderful, and it's a uniquely autistic experience which I'm so grateful for having. It makes my stomach fill with that butterflies feeling and my body vibrate from my head to my toes. This is similar to the feeling I get when I'm happy stimming, by flapping my hands and flicking my wrists. It's a pure feeling of tingly elation right up my spine. Finally, being autistic has given me the wonderful gift of my assistance dog in training, Lyra, who is always there for me when being autistic isn't so pleasant and things get too loud and overloading. I love her more than words can say, and I love being autistic.
Hi, my name is Kate. What I like most about being autistic is my autistic brain, my autistic mind. I think about things in very complex and nuanced ways because I don't think in words, so I can think more deeply than just the reductionistic sense of what can be fit into words. And this means that I process more slowly than most people, which means that it's hard for me to participate in real-time conversations, typical conversations, but the conclusions that I come to are very nuanced and naturally very thorough, and I come up with novel ideas.
Kind of hard for me to pick just one thing, but I think my favorite thing about being autistic is definitely special interests, because the kind of concentration and focus we have on our special interests is truly unstoppable. Like, it makes me feel unstoppable, and it makes me feel like I'm really getting to the root of things, and I'm really dissecting it from the inside out and turning it over several times and then doing it all over again, if that makes sense. And it requires this kind of like extreme dedication, and that focus and that concentration that we do have towards it, it never runs out.